Crosstown Classic continues, and we're on the north side of town this weekend, and kind of an unfamiliar sight in these parts, a White Sox jersey. But these 3 days you'll see a few of them here at Wrigley Field. It's the Hyundai leadoff man as the Cubs host the White Sox. Hi again, everyone. I'm Len Casper. Welcome to the leadoff man. Thanks to Dan Roan for starting things off at 12:30, and we're getting you set for the Cubs and the White Sox today. What a thrilling finish to the Giants series as the Cubs were able to earn a split. And off Brian Wilson in the ninth inning, down 1-0. Ramirez comes up with another big hit, this time a game-tying home run. The first homer allowed by Wilson on the season. That sent us into extra innings. The bullpen just tremendous. This home run by Pablo Sandoval, the first Giants hit off the Cubs bullpen since the third inning. Didn't look good at that point, 2-1. But the Cubs would rally. In the bottom of the 13th with 2 outs, Jeff Baker aboard. Darwin Barney base hit to left. Cody Ross with a throw, airmailing the catcher. We're tied at 1. After an intentional walk to Starlin Castro, pinch hitter Giovanni Soto comes up and hits a game-ending 3-run homer. Cubs win their second in a row in their final at bat, and they improved to 34-48 on the season. Graybo gets the win, Ramirez the loss, and that sets up the Cubs hosting the White Sox this weekend. As we go to break, our Chicago and Northwest Hyundai dealers spotlight reminds us to check out the award-winning Hyundai Sonata and the all-new Hyundai Elantra at myhyundai.com. Out the award-winning Hyundai Sonata and the all-new Elantra at myhyundaichicago.com. As you see, pretty interesting sky. We should be okay to play today. We're expecting very hot temperatures, but right now the temps hovering around 70 degrees with the wind blowing in. The White Sox come in having won an interleague series at Colorado. They have been very good against the National League, and that's gotten them back to within striking distance. They're 4 back of the Tigers in the American League Central, just 3.5 behind Cleveland for second place. As the White Sox have now won 18 of their last 19 interleague series, including 9 straight on the road. Time now for Bob's AutoZone tip of the day. We're going to do it again. Let's do it again, which is what he said yesterday. Tip of the day brought to you by AutoZone. For the auto parts, accessories, and advice you need, get in the zone. AutoZone. Check out the award-winning Hyundai Sonata and the all-new Elantra at myhyundaichicago.com. Getting you set for the White Sox and the Cubs. Now the Cubs minor league report. Brian LaHair continues his hot season at Iowa. Another home run, his 22nd of the year. Tennessee heating up. They've won 4 in a row. Daytona rained out at Tampa. They'll play a doubleheader today. And down in Mesa, a kid named Starling with a G. Peralta, 5 innings, 1 run for the rookie Cubs. We're set for Cubs baseball as they take on their crosstown rival, the Chicago White Sox, next.
Where black and blue met swagger and sweat, where picking a side was just as important as knowing the score, the real score. And when you haven't had enough, you want to do it all over again. It's about you and them, fighting it out in another place where pride is worth its weight in gold. It will be settled. North Side versus South Side.
Well, this weekend, the Northsiders have home turf as the Crosstown Classic continues. We're inside Wrigley Field for Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN Sports. The Cubs welcome in the Chicago White Sox. It's the first of a 3-game interleague set. We welcome Cub fans from all over the country watching on WGN America, America's home for baseball. Hi again, everyone. Along with Bob Brenly, I'm Len Casper. I'm going to ask Bob to explain the weather here a little later. But first, let's talk Cubs baseball. They're still trying to get their first 3-game winning streak of the year, and the reason they have a chance is because of a wild finish yesterday.
A crazy ball game yesterday, Len. Zambrano leaves early, but the bullpen comes in, led by Marcos Mateo. And Just was fantastic. 12 innings of 3-hit baseball, only 1 home run surrendered during that time, and timely hits, clutch hits, whatever you want to call them. The Cubs couldn't find them earlier in the year. They're starting to find them now.
And they're finding the home runs. They had a big month of June in that department.
Well, and that's what we've been waiting for. We talked about it early in the season with the cold temperatures, the wind blowing in, that the home run was not going to be a factor. But now that it's more conducive to the long ball, the Cubs are starting to hit some.
Right now, the wind is blowing in. That could change as the day goes on, but Randy Wells, as always, needs to keep the ball down.
Needs to keep the ball down, needs to either try to avoid contact or get weak contact. His last outing against the Kansas City Royals, 12 base runners in 6 innings. Half of those guys came around to score.
He hasn't won since his first start in April. Edwin Jackson hasn't won in over a month, even though he had a good ERA in June, and it'll be Jackson for the White Sox, Wells for the Cubs, down to the field, and our national anthem.
And as the Illinois National Guard and the Chicago Cubs welcome a very special guest to Wrigley Field. Master Sergeant Stephen Lott spent all of 2010 in Iraq as part of the Iraq Training and Advisory Mission, where he helped train the Iraqi soldiers and police in Baghdad. Master Sergeant Lott is currently with the 3rd Brigade, 75th Division out of Fort Sheridan, Illinois, where he continues to serve in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. The Chicago Cubs would like to take this moment to thank Master Sergeant Lott, along with all our servicemen and women, both in this country and around the world, for their selfless dedication, courage, and sacrifice in protecting our freedom and defending this great country. At this time, please remain standing. Kindly remove your caps and join Michael McDermott as he honors America with our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, it gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Cubs and White Sox will match up for the 82nd time, going back to 1997. We'll have the first pitch and all the action next. Budweiser. A reminder from Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Designated driver. Pepsi Max, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball and your Chicago Cubs. 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. Ford. The newest vehicles on the road are now at your local Ford store. Like the all-new Ford Explorer. SUV, 100% reinvented. Visit localfordstores.com. Ford, drive one. And by the Illinois Lottery. Play the Wheel of Fortune instant game from the Illinois Lottery for a chance at $250,000. Chicago Cubs baseball in high definition is brought to you by Xfinity, only from Comcast. We're set to go. Overcast skies, but we should be in good shape weather-wise. Let's send it down to the field and Dan Roan.
All right, Len, thanks very much. You know, there's a guy in the White Sox dugout who has hit more home runs against the Cubs in Wrigley Field than any active player in Major League Baseball. But Adam Dunn is not in Ozzie Guillen's lineup today. Dunn has been in a season-long slump. He's hitting at about 170 so far this year. So even against the right-hander, Randy Wells, no Adam Dunn. Ozzie says he may just stick Dunn at number 3 in his lineup ahead of Paul Konerko and let him go. But today, I'm not so sure it would make all that much difference because right now you couldn't shoot a cannon from home plate into the right field bleachers.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, it's been one of those days weather-wise. We were and maybe still expecting hot temperatures, but it hasn't happened to this point. And we're just a few blocks off Lake Michigan. 68 degrees. Bob, we were thinking that it might be the hottest day of the year.
And it may turn out to be that before the end of the day. Dan mentioned you couldn't shoot one out of here with a cannon to right field. However, a cork gun could hit one out of here to left right now. Wind is really howling out of the south, pushing everything toward left field.
Right-hander Randy Wells gets his 8th start of the season. He'll face this White Sox lineup. Juan Pierre with a game-winning hit yesterday in Colorado. Brent Morel is at third. Carlos Quentin right. Paul Konerko, big month of June. He and Carlos Pena each hit 10 home runs. A.J. Przinsky is the catcher. Alexei Ramirez at short. Alex Rios in center. Gordon Beckham with a big day yesterday. And Edwin Jackson, the pitcher, will hit 9th.
And let's check out how the Cubs take the field defensively today. Behind Randy Wells, brought to you by Pepsi Max, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball and your Chicago Cubs. 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. Boy, a lot of heroes in the ball game yesterday. None bigger than Giovanni Soto. Only his 2nd pinch hit at bat of the season. 3-run home run, walk-off in extras. Doesn't get any bigger than that. Soriano, Johnson, Fukudome across the outfield. Ramirez, Castro, Barney, Pena across the infield. Giovanni Soto behind the dish for right-hander Randy Wells. Gave up a lot of solid contact last time out against Kansas City. I mentioned before, pitched 6 innings, gave up 10 hits, walked a couple of batters, gave up 6 earned runs in that game.
As we look at today's umpires, Rob Drake's kind of like that minor leaguer who had to go a level per year. He has 19 years of pro umpiring experience, but has been on the full-time staff since the beginning of last year. These guys have to work very hard all the way through to get to this level. Gary Darling's the crew chief. He's at first base. As Juan Pierre, the former Cub, will lead it off.
I almost didn't recognize Rob Drake behind the plate. He, in the past, has worn the hockey goalie-style mask, but has gone to a more traditional umpire's mask this year.
We're underway. Ball 1 outside on Pierre, who had the game-winning 2-run single in the 10th to beat the Rockies, another one of his former teams. He also picked up his first stolen base since June 1st. So he had a steal on the first day of the month and one on the last day and nothing in between, which is pretty shocking.
Yeah, the Sox have only stolen 32 bases as a team all year. They've been caught stealing 31 times, which is the best or worst in Major League Baseball, however you choose to look at it. The Yankees have also been caught 31 times.
Ozzie has been somewhat critical of this ballpark in the past, but kind of clarified those comments, saying once we hit game time, there's no better ballpark in baseball. He mentioned Wrigley and Fenway in terms of the atmosphere. as Pierre takes a leadoff walk. You see our center field camera just slightly wobbly, and that's only because of the wind. I mean, we've got an east wind at 24 miles an hour, and it's a type of wind, Bob, that might even affect the pitches today.
I think it's going to affect everything on the field of play. It is blowing really hard right now. It changed directions a couple of times during batting practice, but as you can see, blowing from the right field corner toward that left field corner, a gale right now.
Brent Morrell, the third baseman, takes a fastball low. Morrell had the game-winning sac fly in the middle game of that series on the south side last week. The White Sox won the final two after the Cubs took the opener. Now the White Sox this year have gone 9-6 in interleague play, but 0-5 in series openers. That means they've gone 9-1 in the other games. The Cubs basically, Bob, are doing the opposite right now.
Yeah. Looks like Ozzy's ready to hit. Has a bat in his hand over there in that first base dugout.
Pierre looks runnerish. We talk about guys looking hitterish. He acts like he'd like to go.
Yeah, some base runners don't even realize they're doing it. They get out there to their maximum lead, and as that pitcher holds the ball on the mound, they just start to lean ever so slightly, getting that weight out over the front foot, getting ready to cross over and break for second.
1-2 the count. If you missed it on our pregame, Kerry Wood has been activated from the 15-day disabled list. He had the blister on his right index finger, so he's back. And Carlos Zambrano goes to the DL with lower back soreness. Hopefully he'd be back in the rotation right after the All-Star break. Thanks to Kerry Wood for joining us on Showdown in the City. Talk about his new foundation. I don't think he's going to kick his feet up and assume he's not going to pitch today.
Not today.
Not after 12 innings from the bullpen yesterday. Cubs will have to replace Zambrano in the rotation Tuesday in Washington, D.C., and then a week from Sunday to finish the first half at Pittsburgh. That has yet to be determined. There goes Pierre, and that's rolled right where Castro was before the pitch. And Pierre's going to be stopped by Jeff Cox. Jeff Cox almost had to literally stand in Pierre's way as he came barreling around third. The only reason, Bob, that's not a double play is because Pierre was running.
And Starlin Castro was responsible for covering second base on that particular pitch. Left that big hole on the left side of the infield. Good lesson for young hitters out there. When the hit and run is on, ideally you'd like to hit the ball behind the runner, because usually the second baseman is going to be the cover man with the right-handed hitter at the plate. That time the Cubs switched up the coverage, and because Morrell just hit the ball hard on the ground, he was able to find that hole on the left side this time.
So 2 on, nobody out.
Just get it on the ground.
Carlos Quentin swings at the first pitch. Again, the wind's going to help Kosuke on this play. And Pierre's going to come a little bit down the line, but hold up. That's the first out.
Kosuke is one of the surest right fielders, especially in this ballpark. And you saw the issues he had with that high fly ball. Thought he was camped under it, had to come in 3 or 4 steps, and then eventually has to reach back up over his head to make the catch. That wind is really playing tricks with balls hit in the air today.
Here's Paul Konerko. He was red hot when we saw them on the south side last week. Had a game homer streak at one time. He's hit 11 home runs over his last 27 games, and he takes a strike. Oh, 1. Another ball to right. This time Pierre's going to try it. Kosuke again trying to get behind the ball. Pierre on his way to the plate. He'll get in. Pena cut it off smartly, but could not get Morel at second. It's a sacrifice fly for Paul Konerko, and it's 1-0 White Sox.
Yeah, Fox held him on the first one, sends him on this one. It was too long of a throw for Kosuke Fukudome that time as it tailed up the third baseline. Carlos Pena wisely cut it off. They were not going to have a play at the plate on Juan Pierre. Unfortunately, good base running by Brett Morel to tag and advance to second base.
Runner at second, and it's A.J. Przinsky. That go-ahead two-run triple against the Cubs in Game 3 at U.S. Cellular Field. And he came off the bench yesterday at Coors Field, went 2 for 2, scored the tying run in the 8th and the winning run in the 10th. And the night before, he had the game-winning sac fly.
AJ's been hot lately, hitting .412 over his last 9 games. He always seems to do something in these crosstown games. Even if he comes in slumping, he finds a way to insert himself in the middle of the action.
We sometimes see numbers like that. Against the Cubs, it seems like he can throw those out the window.
Yep.
Softly hit up the middle and through. Well, that 99 hopper for A.J. Przinsky, and there you go. 2-out RBI single, and it's 2-0.
That's a fundamental mistake by Darwin Barney. Got to knock this ball down. If you can't field it cleanly, smother it, make sure it stays on the infield to keep that runner from second from rounding third and scoring. Long run for Darwin Barney. I think if he dives just a split second sooner, he's able to knock that ball down and keep that run off the board for the time being.
Here's a shortstop, Alexei Ramirez. He takes a slider in there. 0-1. Two starting pitchers looking for their first win in a while. For Randy Wells, he won his season debut against Arizona. That was April 4th. He has not picked up a win since. When we see Edwin Jackson, he's trying to get his first victory since May 22nd. He had a winless month of June in spite of a sub-3 ERA. More first inning problems for Randy Wells. Gave up 4 in his last start. Castro able to knock it down and get it to Barney in time as they force Przinsky. But the White Sox get 2 as the Cubs are coming up. Soft drink of Major League Baseball and your Chicago Cubs. 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. Pretty standard at the top. Fukudome, Barney, and Castro. Darwin came off the DL a few days ago. Ramirez, red hot, looking for his 300th career homer. Pena at first. Soriano with good numbers against Edwin Jackson. Reed Johnson's in center. Giovanni Soto catches for Randy Wells.
Quick look at the White Sox defensively. Juan Pierre, Alex Rios, and Carlos Quentin across the outfield, left to right. Brent Morel at third. Alexei Ramirez at short. Gordon Beckham, or as his skipper calls him, Bacon, will be at second base today. Paul Konerko over at first, just having a tremendous year, among the league leaders in every important offensive category. He'll be over at first base. A.J. Przinsky has had a lot of problems throwing out runners this year, and he'll be catching right-hander Edwin Jackson, who's had a lot of problems slowing down the running game this year. 16 stolen bases in 17 attempts against the White Sox right-hander. AJ's thrown out only 11% all year. See if the Cubs are aggressive on the bases today.
He has lost his 2 decisions against the Cubs in his career. This is his 5th start. 0-2 with an 8.44. Ball and 2 strikes on the leadoff man, Kosuke Fukudome. A 4-run outburst in the 13th inning after the Cubs yesterday scored once in the first 12. That's baseball for you. They lost games started by Ryan Vogelsong and Barry Zito, and they won games as they were opposed by Tim Lincecum and Matt Cain.
Go figure.
The world was upside down in that Giants series. If I had told you yesterday that Matt Cain would go 7 innings and allow no runs, and Carlos Zambrano would be pulled with nobody out in the second, and I told you the Cubs won the game, you'd say I'm crazy. There's a base hit to start it for Kosuke. But you might say I'm crazy anyway.
Well, certainly Giovanni Soto got all the pub for the big home run to win the game, but had it not been for Jeff Baker's 2-out double and then Darwin Barney singling into left field, Gio would never have had the opportunity to win the game with that final at bat.
It looked like Cody Ross had a play on Baker, but his throw got away. That all started after 2 were out. Bruce Bochy's comment. I was reading some of his quotes in the San Francisco paper. Essentially, it just wasn't our day. It wasn't meant to be. Those are just those days where it just felt like the Cubs were going to win the game. And they did. They found a way.
And you talked about the improbable nature of the wins and losses in that Giants series. The reality is Ryan Dempster outpitched Tim Lincecum in his start, as good as we've ever seen Ryan Dempster. And the Cubs bullpen yesterday was a little better than Matt Cain and the Giants bullpen, including that man. What a tremendous performance by Marcos Mateo yesterday.
He probably can kick his feet up. We will not see him in the game today. Check swing bouncer, and Beckham will only have 1 play. That's first. We want to let our AT&T U-verse viewers in Chicago and around the country on WGN American know that during every Cubs home game this season, if you go to channel 780 or high definition channel 1780, you can see a special multi-view presentation that shows you all our different live camera angles here at Wrigley Field. It's pretty cool, so if you want to direct the game along with Skip Ellison, give a look to AT&T U-verse channel 780 or HD channel 1780. Starlin Castro takes ball 1. I go into it in more detail on our WGN baseball blog, WGNTV.com. But if Starlin Castro had made the final out of the 13th and we had gone to the 14th yesterday, before the pitcher spot came up, John Grable would have been back out on the mound for his third inning. As it was, he was intentionally walked. Soto hit the homer. If Soto had made the final out, Chris Carpenter would have come into the game, and then at some point, if we got to the 16th, 17th, 18th, whatever that inning was when Carpenter couldn't go any further, the two top choices were Jeff Baker and Coy Hill. Right field, it's slicing, and it'll be caught by Quentin, who slips, but Fukudome was not tagging.
A lot of rain fell last night. Might be a little slippery out there in some spots. Carlos Quentin found one of them.
As Mike Quaddy put it to us before the game, Bob, he said whoever had won the fight between Jeff Baker and Coy Hill would have pitched. As you know, in those spots, guys are begging to be the man.
Yeah, it's funny how that works, Len. All the pitchers want to be hitters, and all the hitters would like to get on the mound and pitch.
Jeff Baker dropped I was 18-1 in high school or whatever, and Mike Quaddy said, who wasn't? But what gets tricky there is Ramirez pops it up, and the wind will push that one way foul. Okay, if Coy Hill is a possible pitching candidate, when you pinch hit Soto in the 13th, if you bring him into the game, you have to leave Coy Hill in the game. You can't just take him out, so you move him to third or second or somewhere where you can possibly use him to pitch.
See, I would have gone a different direction, Len. This is thinking outside the box. I'd have gone with Tony Campana. Shortest guy on the field, biggest glove. He could hide behind his glove. He'd be throwing uphill to home plate. Hitters haven't seen anything like that.
That's true. You're good. Ramirez swings and misses in the inning. Comes to an end. Very festive weekend. The Wrigley Field Fest going on all weekend long. Make sure you stop on by. Baseball blog on WGNTV.com. We got pictures from Wrigleyville today. Eddie Vedder and Jose Cardinal singing The Stretch and much more. WGNTV.com. Clouds dissipating a little bit. The wind has died down slightly. Alex Rios leading off. Swing and a miss, 1-1. His name was in the headlines and not for a reason that he wanted them. in the headlines. Got pulled from the game on Tuesday at Colorado for not running hard enough on the bases in the eyes of his manager, Ozzie Guillen. And he was in the lineup the next night, made a diving catch in the ninth as the Sox preserved a 3-2 win. And he struck him out. First strikeout for Wells.
And I got to tell you, Len, I commend Ozzie Guillen for his actions with Rios. I mean, there's really only two excuses. Number one, you're injured, in which case you shouldn't be in the ball game. Or number two, you don't feel it's important enough to give a full effort to your teammates and your fans, and that's another reason you shouldn't be in the lineup.
Gordon Beckham takes ball one. 3 hits in the game yesterday. Reached base all 5 times he came up. Or at least didn't make an out all 5 times. And he drives that ball deep to left. It's hooking toward the foul pole, and it's going to be a fair ball off the wall. It's a double for Beckham.
Get yourself in a good hitter's count of 2-0. You get a fastball up on the inner part of the plate with the wind blowing that direction. Looked like Beckham was going to hit that one out into the street, but died about halfway up the wall, right down the left field line for a double.
Here's Jackson with 1 out, not a bunting spot. Career 143 hitter with 1 home run. And a big rip, he missed it. With a couple of National League teams, the Dodgers and later the Arizona Diamondbacks. With Arizona last year, he threw a no-hitter at Tampa Bay. And 149 pitches as Carlos Pena leaves his feet to make the grab.
The McDonald's Daily Double is back for just $1.89, but you don't have to remember it to love it. Prices and participation may vary. For a limited time, a la carte only.
Juan Pierre started the game with a walk, and normally that leadoff walk, at least it feels that way, comes around to score, and he did on the sac fly by Konerko. That's what you want him to do, put the ball in the air. And somebody better catch it. It's Darwin Barney. As the other outfielders in the area kind of looked at Barney, and that was not an easy catch.
legendary Wrigley Field from the players who lived them firsthand. Well, now you have that chance. Cubs great Milt Pappas will be leading tours on both July 9th and 10th. For more information or to purchase tickets, call 1-800-THE-CUBS or visit Cubs.com.
Pretty fresh, 41 days. Let's hope it lasts through the weekend. Carlos Pena homered in all 3 games on the south side.
That's one case where my advice probably wouldn't work. If you have a mixed marriage with a White Sox fan and a Cubs fan, you never want to admit, yes, dear, you're right, I'm sorry. At least not concerning your baseball teams.
Fouled away. They do shift on the infield against Pena, but it's not quite as drastic as most teams employ.
Also, Gordon Beckham, the second baseman, right at the cut of the infield grass. A lot of teams put that second baseman way out in shallow right field.
Just as I mentioned that, they do shift Ramirez over to the first base side of second, and Morel basically playing short.
Only 3 hits against the White Sox this year, but he maximized off 3 hits. All left the ballpark.
Edwin Jackson was drafted as an outfielder by the Dodgers, but they converted him to a pitcher. Son of a military man, he was born in Germany. He was drafted out of high school in Columbus, Georgia. He was born on the New Ulm U.S. Army base in Germany, which closed in 1991. That's a leadoff walk. Let's hope the Cubs can take advantage as Alfonso Soriano comes up.
As we watch Jackson this afternoon, he's basically a 2-pitch guy, a fastball and a slider. He will mix in an occasional straight changeup, and he also does have a curveball, although he uses it very rarely.
Veteran pitching coach Don Cooper. There's a pitch to Soriano. It's a fastball at 95 for a strike. Been a good matchup for Alfonso over the years. A couple of notes on the no-no by Jackson. Last year with Arizona at Tampa Bay. 149 pitches, the most in a no-hitter since 1988. It was the 4th in interleague play. He faced 36 batters. That's tied for the most in a 9-inning no-hitter during the modern era. That according to Elias. Soriano strikes out. 1 away.
Well, we had complimented Soriano recently on his pitch selection. Had been laying off a lot of these breaking balls off the plate or down in the dirt, but the last couple of games overly aggressive once again, chasing a lot of pitchers' pitches.
Here's Reed Johnson playing center. Partner, you refer to Fangraphs quite a bit, and they've got really interesting data on pitch type, pitch speed, the average velocity on all these pitchers' pitches. And the one trend that you notice, and it wouldn't be that surprising to notice, number one, fastball velocity might go down a tick or two as a guy gets older. Although in the case of Edwin Jackson, since he came up in 2003, it's actually a little faster than it used to be. But the fact that guys tend to rely a little less on their fastball as their career goes on.
Yeah, either they refine their secondary pitches to the point where they have enough confidence to use them in fastball situations, or as you mentioned, if the velocity on the fastball starts to creep down, you look for plan B or plan C to get hitters out.
Johnson out into left center. There's a lot of space out there. Rios will cut it off as Pena's going to be held at third. It's a double for Johnson.
Well, we've been talking a lot about Reed Johnson lately and how he stands with his toes right on that inside corner of the plate, yet he's quick enough to get to inside fastballs. Perfect example right there. 88-mile-an-hour heater, maybe a little bit off the inside corner, and Reed is still able to pull that ball, get the barrel on it toward the gap in left center.
See how Jackson attacks Soto with first base open, and the pitcher Randy Wells on deck. Soto's last swing ended the game yesterday. Cubs needed one. They got three instead on a home run.
Talking about pitchers losing a tick or two off their fastball as they get a little bit older. Sometimes managers lose a little bit of their eyesight as they get older. Ozzie wearing some cheaters over there in that first base dugout. That print on the stat sheet is really small. Professor Guillen.
AJ blocked that pitch in the dirt. 1-2. Our email account always open. Did you pay the bill last night?
No.
Len and Bob at Tribune.com. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well.
You are the social networking king of the booth, so
I don't
just figured you handled that.
I don't finance it though. See, I fly, you buy. We are all over the interweb.
The worldwide interweb.
Two-two the count on Soto. Here's a pitch. We'll do it again. Usually this would be the only day game in baseball, but do you know what today is? As a former Toronto Blue Jay.
Oh, Canada Day. I forget
today
what it's called.
Canada Day.
Canada
The Blue
Day,
Jays
yeah.
are hosting the Phillies, and they lead 4-3 in the top of the sixth. Full count, 3-2. And I just don't think Jackson's going to give in this spot.
And Giovanni Soto probably thinking the same thing. He's been in similar situations as a catcher with runners at second and third, and out in the inning and the pitcher in the on deck circle. Just don't overthink it.
To third, and Morel thought about Pena. Instead, he throws to first, and that'll give Soto an RBI. It's 2-1.
Maybe a little bit overcautious by the White Sox third baseman right there. Looked like they had a play on Carlos Pena at the plate. He's off on contact. That two-hopper hit right to Morel. Yeah, I think if he goes home directly when he picks up that baseball, they probably get Carlos Pena at the plate, but decided to throw across the diamond. Perhaps didn't have a good grip on the baseball. Didn't want to risk a bad throw to home plate.
Hey, good to see Andrew Kashner back in the Cubs dugout. And hopefully he'll be throwing soon as he works his way back.
Now see if Morel juggles this ball just a little bit right there. You see he's got it cradled back in the palm of his hand, didn't have a good grip on it, so decided not worth the risk to throw home.
0-2 on Randy Wells. That's a good pickup, partner. I think he did want to throw to the plate, but didn't want to make a bad throw and risk a big inning. Blocked by Przinsky.
And it's one thing to block pitches in the dirt around home plate, but when they bounce out on the infield grass, that's a whole different challenge for a catcher. Jackson just spikes that ball down into the grass. AJ actually has to come up out of his crouch to block that one. Usually a catcher drops down to his knees to block pitches in the dirt. That time he had to stand up to block it.
Now that is a surprise. American League pitchers this year have a higher batting average than their NL counterparts. That shouldn't happen. That really shouldn't happen. Mark Burley had a hit the other day and then promptly got picked off. I guess NL pitchers can still claim we're better base runners. To right, Quinton will get there. Cubs get on the board. 2-1 White Sox at the end of 2.
Right now and click on the WGN Sports Game Zone banner to connect to all the up-to-the-minute stats and information while you're watching at home. Game Zone is sponsored by The Great Escape, pools, patio sets, play sets, hot tubs, and more.
A little extra time for Randy Wells, who made the final out of the second. We'll face Morel, Quinton, and Konerko here in the White Sox third. Cubs have dropped 9 of their last 12 against the White Sox and have lost 6 consecutive series. Morel 1 for 1 with a run scored, and he takes a strike. Southpaw came back up and either got the bat again or part of Morel. That makes it foul. Pitching matchups for the rest of the weekend. Phil Umber and Matt Garza tomorrow. Gavin Floyd, Rodrigo Lopez on Sunday. So 6 right-handed starters in this series. Lopez pitching in the spot previously held by Doug Davis, who was released a couple days ago. And again, the Cubs will have to replace Carlos Zambrano on Tuesday. So I believe, does that leave Ryan Dempster as the only Cubs starting pitcher from the opening day rotation that has not been on the DL?
Yep.
Everybody else has. Diving stop. Does Castro have time? He does! Yeah. What a play. What a throw.
No question, a strong throwing arm made that play right there, but Starlin Castro's ability to get back to his feet quickly, get his shoulder squared up to first base, and then the strong throwing arm finishes off the play. Nicely done. Well, in a routine play, Starlin kind of has a little bit of a low 3/4, almost a sidearm flip from his shortstop position. But when he needs to put a little extra on it, and he gets up on top and throws straight over the top, he gets some great carry on his throws from deep in the hole.
One and one to Carlos Quentin, who's already been hit a major league leading 17 times this year. He's been plunked 20 times twice in his career.
That's nothing. He was a human dartboard in the minor leagues. I remember as he was coming up through the Diamondback system, and we really didn't know who Carlos Quentin was at the time. I get the game reports every day from the minor league system, and it seemed like he was getting hit twice a game. He had a high of 31 hit by pitch in AAA Tucson back in 06. He was hit 29 times the year before, 27 times 2 years before that. He just refuses to give.
Konerko with a sac fly in the first inning as he waits on deck. Got to believe, of everyone involved this weekend on the field, Paul Konerko has been in more of these crosstown games than anybody. And I find it interesting that, unless you can correct me, he hasn't been involved in one minor controversy. That's just not his style.
He's one of those guys that lets his play do the talking, and when he is quoted after a ball game, good, bad, or indifferent, he says the things you would expect a team leader to say. He's not going to stir up any unnecessary controversy, just play the game.
Quentin strikes out. Now that guy's a different story.
Hey fans, there's still time to get great seats for the 2011 season. Bleacher seats are still available as well. To purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com, call 1-800-THE-CUBS, or visit the Wrigley Field box office.
1 ball, no strikes on Konerko, and he returned on a 3-year contract, and it really looked like he might not be back, especially after the White Sox signed Adam Dunn to that big 4-year deal. But 5 days later, he returned. Rumors he might end up in Arizona. One changeup bounced in front of home plate. 2-1. Goes without saying, the Cubs need innings out of Randy Wells today. Got to help out that bullpen. Although Marcos Mateo did such a great job. He did save that bullpen yesterday with 5 shutout innings. Not sure if Carlos Marmol will be used today. He was kind of iffy. He went 2 innings in the game. We could see Sean Marshall, maybe even Kerry Wood in a potential closing situation, although Woody just coming off the DL.
Had it not been for the effort of Marcos Mateo yesterday, you can be pretty sure the Cubs would have had to make maybe a couple of roster moves to get some healthy arms up here. But the fact that Mateo was able to go 5 superlative innings, really saved the rest of those guys in the bullpen, and Cubs didn't have to make some knee-jerk moves just to get healthy arms up here.
Lazy fly, right center. It's Kosuke calling off Reed Johnson. Inning could have gone a lot differently had Starlin Castro not made one of the best plays we've seen this year defensively to get Morel. Keeping an eye on all the fans in the bleachers. Behave yourselves out there.
Big brother is watching.
We are watching. Fukudome 1 for 1. Caught the outside corner at 95. Off speed, caught the same spot, 1-2. Wind and the 2-2 pitch. And he's run it full. There's Barney on deck. Castro will also get a shot at Jackson in this Cubs third. It's lined into left. Time now for the Cubs' upcoming schedule. Brought to you by Lincoln. It's not just luxury, it's smarter than that. Feel smarter at Lincoln.com. Late afternoon tomorrow, WGN Sports will have Sunday's game, White Sox and Cubs. And then we're in the nation's capital on the 4th of July at noon Central here on WGN. Davey Johnson and the Washington Nationals. Who are 0-3 under their new manager.
He's on the hot seat already.
They got swept in Anaheim. (2-0) to Darwin Barney. Had a left knee sprain. Came back off the DL on Wednesday. Marlon Byrd, kind of the conventional wisdom here the last few days is that he would be back with the team on Sunday and ready to fly to Washington, D.C. and be in the lineup on Monday, but might even be sooner than that, depending on how things go tonight in Des Moines. You know that would be Marlon's preference.
I think Marlon's preference would be to be at the plate right now here at Wrigley Field.
By the way, the Nationals hosting the Pirates this weekend. Makes it easy for the Cubs advanced scout. You can just go watch that series. Two teams Cubs will see on the next trip. One of the guys the Cubs will face in that series in D.C. is Tom Gorzolani, who gets the start tonight. Kosuke runs and Barney pops it up. It'll get back to the seats. Three-day All-Star break, the 11th through the 13th. Mike Quade will represent the Cubs on Bruce Bochy's coaching staff. Pretty good chance Starlin Castro will be there as well as a National League reserve. And then a long homestand after that. The Marlins, the Phillies, and the Astros.
I'm guessing Kosuke is going to be on the move over there at first base. Full count, nobody out in the inning. Darwin Barney, pretty good contact hitter, doesn't strike out very much, about 1 out of every 10 at bats.
He does run, and there's another foul out of play.
And you talked about the no-hitter for Edwin Jackson last year for the Diamondbacks toward the end of June, threw 148 pitches. But remember, that was for a team that was on their way to a 97-loss season. And there aren't many highlights when you're struggling through a year the way the Diamondbacks did last year. And I think just about any manager in baseball would have let him continue until he gave up that first hit.
Out into left center. Kosuke was running. He should score easily. Barney, meantime, is going to stop at second. He ties it up with a double.
Darwin Barney, fresh off that disabled list, has contributed with some huge base hits in his time back here at the major league level. Because Fukudome was running on the play, certainly enhanced his chances of scoring on this. And once the ball gets all the way to the ivy, it was a no-doubter that Ivan De Jesus was going to send Kosuke on home.
Still nobody out. So Barney has tied the game with his last 2 hits in the 13th on Thursday, and with that double here in the 3rd inning. Cubs with their 9th 2-game winning streak. They haven't won 3 in a row since the end of last year. Haven't won 3 in a row at home since early September of 2010.
And you could see from that one shot we had from center field the way the White Sox are defending Starlin Castro up the middle of the field. Ramirez probably a good 6 or 7 steps closer to the bag from his shortstop position, and Gordon Beckham earlier in the sequence was also cheating up the middle of the field, trying to take away that gap right back over the mound. I think we'll see more teams start to defend Starlin Castro in a similar fashion. Bunch your infielders, bunch the outfielders toward the gaps, and then as the count swings one direction or the other, you make it an appropriate adjustment. But at least to start the at-bat, try to squeeze those infielders toward the bag at second, try to take away some of those base hits up the middle.
Behind the runner, that allows Barney to get to third as Ramirez throws him out. Let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN. Overcast and breezy, a little cooler than we had originally anticipated. As the White Sox bring their infielders in with a runner at third and 1 out. Ramirez struck out his first time up. 2-2. The Cubs tied it earlier this inning. Strike one. Slider at 88 miles an hour. To right, Quentin going back on it, circling. And that'll be a go-ahead sac fly for Ramirez as Darwin Barney scores.
Pitch selection that time by Ramirez, just looking for something up over the plate he could lift in the air to the outfield. That time it was a fastball away. Chasing Quentin all the way to the warning track in right field to drive home Darwin Barney.
Base is empty, 2 outs. Carlos Pena. Strike one. Mets and the Yankees will match up again this weekend. Mets will be the home team. Von Nova, a right-hander, against lefty John Neese later tonight. Both teams playing pretty well. The Yankees leading Boston by 2.5 in the American League East. The Mets are a game over. Unfortunately for them, they're in a division with the Phillies, so they're 9.5 back. Grounded to Paul Konerko. He'll step on the bag, and the inning is over. The Cubs get 2 to grab their first lead today. 3-2. Cubs hosting their South Side rivals this weekend to wrap up interleague play. Huge crowd on hand today, and that'll be the norm this weekend. A.J. Przinsky with an RBI single in the first inning. Cubs leading 3-2 in the fourth. Two bouncer backhanded neatly by Carlos Pena.
Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN TV is sponsored in part by Mega Millions and now Powerball from the Illinois Lottery. Tonight's Mega Millions jackpot stands at $105 million, while Saturday's Powerball jackpot is at $20 million.
Wells has retired 6 in a row as he fires a strike to Alexei Ramirez. Cardinals swept the Orioles, and with Milwaukee getting swept in New York, we've got a first place tie in the NL Central with Milwaukee and the Cardinals 44-38. Ramirez flies out to Soriano. Cardinals are at Tampa Bay this weekend. Milwaukee is in Minnesota. Ryan Braun with a 20-game hitting streak going into tonight's action. He's more than halfway to the club record of 39 set by Paul Molitor over 20 years ago. Alex Rios swings at the first one. This will be a very quick 1-2-3 for the Cubs starter. Wells with a 3-2 advantage in the fourth.
Band, July 8th through 10th at Lakeside, featuring a full headline set by the Dave Matthews Band each night, along with performances by David Gray, Ray LaMontagne, OAR, Kid Cudi, and many more. Single day and 3-day tickets on sale now at dmbcaravan.com. Brought to you by Bud Light. Here we go.
Patiently waiting for a home run ball. There's a guy who could supply it. One strike on Alfonso Soriano. After Alfonso, it'll be Reed Johnson and Giovanni Soto. Talked about Soriano seeing the ball well earlier. How do guys go in and out of those modes of pitch recognition?
That's the $64,000 question. You know, it just kind of comes and goes. You'll go through a stretch of the season where you feel like you can identify that pitch right out of the pitcher's hand immediately.
Quentin went back, now comes in.
Other times he could tell you what's coming, and you might chase a bad one.
Don't forget that Chicago's very own WGN is your home for fireworks on the 4th of July. Catch the fireworks from Navy Pier and more of the 4th of July celebration Monday night with Chicago's Summer Blast at 9:30 here on WGN right after the 9 o'clock news.
We get back to your question, Len. A lot of it has to do with confidence. If you've had a string of good games where you've recognized pitches quickly, laid off bad pitches, swung at the strikes that you should swing at, you start to feel a little better about yourself. You start to recognize the pitches a little bit quicker. You're not so concerned about falling behind in the count if you happen to take a strike, because you feel like you're still seeing the ball well, and if that pitcher makes a mistake, you're still going to get a hit. But then the opposite is true also. You start chasing some bad pitches, start pressing a little bit more. You see your numbers starting to go down, and that dreaded trying to do too much syndrome sets in.
0-2 on Johnson as he swings and misses on a slider off the plate. Strikeout number 3 for Jackson.
As you said earlier, Len, Jackson throws his slider extremely hard in the high 80s, occasionally touching 90. That last one at 89 started on the corner, ended up low and away.
Interesting news regarding one of the Cubs' recent draft choices. Outfielder Taiwan Easterling, also a wide receiver with Florida State, has signed with the Cubs and will not head back to school. 27th round pick in June. He was a walk-on with a baseball team. Went to FSU on a football scholarship.
I was telling you earlier, Len, I had a chance to see him play a couple of games in the regionals of the College World Series. This guy physically, a slight resemblance to Andre Dawson. Big, wide shoulders, very thin waist, strong legs. Has that V-shaped upper body.
Called strike 3. Very quick inning for both starting pitchers. Here in the 4th, it's 3-2 Cubs. free Illinois Lottery instant game tickets as part of the Illinois Lottery Wheel of Fortune Lucky Row giveaway. The lucky fans are in row 1, section 112. Remember, Cub fans, play the Wheel of Fortune instant game from the Illinois Lottery for a chance at $250,000. I guess all you need is a penny. Scratch off that card.
They're still scratching.
Two strikes on Gordon Beckham. Congrats to Cubs AA manager at Tennessee, Brian Harper. He will be a coach for the U.S. team in the Futures game at Chase Field. Matt Caesar is playing at Low A Peoria. He'll be on that squad. One and two the count. Here's a pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out swinging.
Wrigleyville Rooftops has premier seating for up to 200 guests for corporate gatherings, family reunions, and bachelor or bachelorette parties. Individual and group tickets are available for all games. For more details, go to www.wrigleyvillerooftops.com or call 773-248-ROOF.
Tops are packed here today. These outings become even more important for a guy like Randy Wells, considering all the trouble the Cubs have had in the 4 and 5 spots this year. Now you've got your number 2 starter going into the season out for at least a couple starts, Carlos Zambrano.
Well, and the struggles at the bottom part of the rotation have been well documented. Dempster, Garza, and Zambrano winning about half the time, or rather the club wins about half the time those guys pitch, but the 4 or 5 slots in that rotation has been a black hole. Looking for anybody to step up and take charge and get deep into games, try to rest that bullpen. Unfortunately, as we were talking about the other day, Len, when you have some question marks in your 4 or 5 spots in the rotation, that's back-to-back days when you could possibly really tax your bullpen.
He got him on a slider. Back-to-back Ks to start the 5th. Hey, Chicagoland viewers, how would you like to win 5 $5 footlongs from Subway? Just be the 500th texter to text Subway to 97999. Go to WGNTV.com for complete info and rules. Ten straight sent down by Randy Wells. That makes that guy pretty happy. Mark Riggins, the Cubs pitching coach, chatting with head athletic trainer Mark O'Neill. Soriano back, and he has it, and Randy Wells still cruising along. 11 sent down in order by Wells.
Lime, just the right taste of Bud Light with a refreshing splash of 100% natural lime flavor.
Randy Wells will lead off the Cubs' fifth. Big swing, he fouled it back. 95 on the heat from Edwin Jackson. Cubs got one in the second, two in the third to grab the lead. The White Sox got their two in the opening inning. Ramirez behind second base will toss to Konerko in time. When you play the Wheel of Fortune instant game from the Illinois Lottery, you could win one of 5 top prizes of $250 or one of over 52,000 additional prizes ranging from $50 to $1,000 instantly. Been a good day for the Cubs leadoff man, Kosuke Fukudome. 2 for 2 with a run. High fastball for ball one. Two shot fair, backhanded by Morrell. And a perfect throw to Konerko. These two starting pitchers, Bob, have gotten in a nice groove.
Yeah, both guys seemed a little shaky at the beginning of the ball game, especially Randy Wells, but Randy has settled in spectacular fashion after that rough first inning. And Edwin Jackson starting to get better command of his slider. Still pounding that fastball in there in the upper 90s.
11 straight for Wells, 8 in a row for Jackson. One bouncer to Beckham. That's it. 3 ground outs, and we'll head to the 6th. 3-2 Cubs. A gift to showcase what it means to be a Cub for life. Receive a customized photo announcing the birth on the Wrigley Field marquee. Cubs birth certificate as that's bunted by Morel, and Wells the off-balance throw. It'll be a hit for Brent Morel.
Perfectly placed bunt by Morel, his first bunt hit of the year. Ramirez was playing extremely deep at third base. Randy Wells, the only Cub that could possibly make a play, and Carlos Pena saves him an error by coming off the bag and keeping that ball out of the bullpen.
It's their first hit since Beckham's double in the second inning. How about two? 6-4 to 3. Just like that, 2 outs.
Usually a lot tougher to turn the double play when the ball is hit this slowly, but fortunately for the Cubs, it kind of led Castro toward the bag at second. Darwin Barney with a strong relay toss on to Pena. Easy double play.
I'd love to get that double play ball right in front of Paul Konerko, who bats with 2 outs and nobody on. That a 3-pitch inning?
Sure was.
How about that for Randy Wells? 3-2 Cubs. Starting pitchers at this point. Randy Wells has been extremely efficient. A 3-pitch top of the 6th inning. Edwin Jackson will throw more pitches as he trails by a run. Visit your local Honda dealer today to test drive the 2011 Honda Cross Tour, available with 4-wheel drive. Next time we shoot that grill, I want some of that.
Yeah, really.
I can smell it right through the monitor.
I wonder if they deliver.
Tantalizing.
You saw the 69 pitch mark for Randy Wells. 19 of those came in that first inning. He has been super efficient today.
You know, he's only thrown 50 over the last 5. Pretty good like that. Make it a nice round number. This is as good as we've seen him all year. 1-1 to Starlin Castro. Just 3 for 24 on this homestand. He has a couple of triples, 2-1. Pop fly right field. And Quinton with the grab.
Time for the Chevy Youth Baseball League of the Game, and today we want to recognize Hawk Chevrolet for their support of Burbank American Little League. Hawk Chevrolet and your local Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealers are supporting leagues and young ball players in their communities throughout the Chevy Youth Baseball program. From the big leagues to the youth leagues, Chevy is truly the official vehicle of baseball.
Jerk foul by Ramirez. The other Hawk.
Yeah.
Got Hawk Chevrolet, Hawk Dawson, Hawk Harrelson in the booth next door. Big cut and a miss. Each team with 4 hits. The Cubs lead where it counts the most, 3-2. John Cusack will conduct the 7th inning stretch coming up. Deep to left for Ramirez, and it'll go! A home run. He stays hot. That is number 300 in his career. Congrats to Aramis. Third Cub to hit his 300th home run in the last 2 seasons. Derek Lee and Alfonso Soriano did it last season.
9 homers in his last 24 ball games. This is our BMW ultimate drive of the game. Congratulations to Aramis on number 300, stretching that Cubs lead. Brought to you by your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana BMW dealers. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Mark Teixeira hit number 300 yesterday for the Yankees, so Aramis, the 131st major leaguer to hit his 300th home run. Carlos Pena thought he was hit by that pitch. At least he tried to tell Rob Drake that was the case. Home plate umpire said nope. Now a 2-run advantage after the Ramirez blast. He has 5 home runs on this homestand.
Edwin Jackson going into the 4-corner defense here. He's missed up and in. He's missed down and in. He's missed up and away. Off the corners of the strike zone so far. Should miss low and away right here for ball 4. Ooh. Pretty good pitch to hit that time. Fastball down and in to Carlos Pena. Swung right through it that time. Yeah, you see pitch tracks. Jackson scattering them all over the place, but comes back with a good pitch on the 3-0 count.
Carlos Pena clubs this ball deep. Did he get enough? No. Sounded good. Rios right up against the wall. We should note the wind has shifted. It's essentially blowing out, not blowing very hard, but right now it's blowing out.
I don't think Carlos got all that one. It sounded like it may have been down toward the trademark a little bit. Still gave it a long ride right back into the vines in right center field, but just enough room for Rios to make the play.
Why did we have a feeling that would happen? The wind has almost completely shifted, because that's what it does here.
Absolutely. Stick around a few more innings. See what happens then.
Oh, 2 to Soriano, and he chased a slider for strike 3. Ramirez with his 300th home run, and the Cubs lead 4-2.
Nick Gilder with Hot Child in the City. That's our Bud fan cam. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds.
Big day for Ramirez. Sac fly to give the Cubs a lead in the 3rd inning. And a home run, number 300 in his career, to make it 4-2. A.J. Przinsky base hit to start the 7th. His 2nd knock of the afternoon. A little more Nick Gilder for you. Bud fan cam. Andy Wells could use another double play ball. Missing today in his favor. Down.
That's so important for Randy Wells, because when he misses down, even if the hitter makes solid contact, chances are the result is going to be a ground ball, and at least your defense has a chance to help you in that situation. When he misses up in the zone, those balls tend to get hit really hard toward the gaps and toward the seats.
That's launched to left. Soriano back on the warning track, and it will get out. Alexei Ramirez has tied it up. Not much doubt about it. And it's 4-4.
8th homer of the year for the White Sox shortstop. Well, you see the difference. That slider hanging up on the inside part of the plate as opposed to the previous pitches that were down below the knees. And then Ramirez with a towering home run to left field.
So A. Ramirez with 2 homers today. Aramis for the Cubs and Alexei for the White Sox. That one's floated out into left center for Alex Rios, and that will probably get some Cubs bullpen action going. Let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN. Jeff Samardzija grabs a baseball, and Mark Riggins, the pitching coach, will head out to the mound.
Fans getting a little more involved here. In the top half of the 7th inning, White Sox fans have been very quiet since the beginning of this ball game, but that 2-run homer by Ramirez gave them a reason to cheer, and the Cub fans trying to drown out the Sox fans.
Beckham bunted right through that first pitch. The pitcher Jackson is on deck. But it'll all depend on what happens here with Beckham, whether or not Jackson takes the at bat. Brian Bruni is up in their bullpen.
Well, the fact that Beckham was bunting, at least on the first pitch, would tell you that Jackson's probably going to come out of this ball game. We'll see how this at bat progresses and where the White Sox end up when it's over.
There's a right-hander, Bruni. Well, the Cubs did nothing against their bullpen last week. 11 1/3 by the White Sox relievers. No runs. But that can change. Cubs got it done against Sergio Romo and Brian Wilson and company the last couple of days.
Sergio Santos was especially impressive in that series on the south side. Some of the best stuff we've seen all year from anybody.
Wells has a sign from Soto as Rios takes off. There's a ground ball picked up by Ramirez that keeps the White Sox out of the double play, as Jackson will be pulled back and big Adam Dunn will be brought on as a pinch hitter. And as he steps in, the quote to Mark Gonzalez in the Chicago Tribune earlier this week. I just need to go back to basics and quit thinking. It's not me. I'm not a thinker. Have to see it, hit the darn thing, and not make it so complicated. That's Adam Dunn and his 2011 struggles. The White Sox had a couple of guys from the minor leagues who were rehabbing go to Denver this week to throw a sim game to Dunn to help him try to work out some of his issues. Two and 0. Well, look at that. So less than every 3 times he comes up, he has punched out. Missed the changeup.
Also saw some quotes earlier from Adam Dunn about I didn't do anything different this offseason than I've ever done, and that may be the case, but as you get older, it's been said many times, you have to work harder. You have to do things a little differently. Your reflexes are a little bit slower. You're not quite as strong as you used to be.
3-1.
Most guys will tell you it's very easy when you're in your mid to late 20s to go through the off season, show up at spring training, get 40 or 50 at bats, and you're ready to go. But as you get older, your body needs a little more work. Your swing needs a little more work in spring training.
Ball 4. The first walk since the first batter of the game for Randy Wells. He has had to labor here in this 7th inning. So Rios at second, Dunn now at first. And Juan Pierre at the plate. Right field corner, lots of trouble. Rios will score. Dunn's going to be sent by Jeff Cox. Barney's relay throw to the plate is late. That's a triple for Juan Pierre, who comes up with another huge hit for the White Sox on this road trip.
Down and into Juan Pierre. Conventional wisdom is pitch him up and away, let him hit fly balls to the big part of the ballpark. That time he turned on an inside fastball, hit it out there in no man's land. Even big Adam Dunn able to chug around and score all the way from first base.
85 career triples for Juan Pierre. Samardzija in, Wells out, 6-4 White Sox. Comes into a 1-out jam, runner at third. Already 4 in for the White Sox, as they have grabbed a 6-4 lead. Randy Wells was putting together one of his best outings of the season. Everything fell apart here in the 7th. Infield in. Brent Morrell at the plate. Two big hits in this inning, a 2-run homer to tie it by Ramirez and a 2-run triple by Juan Pierre. High again, 2-0.
Smarter takes a little off that time, and 94 got it back down into the strike zone. You mentioned the workload on the bullpen, Len. Sometimes it doesn't always manifest itself in your arm. Sometimes it's your lower back. Sometimes it's your lower half, your legs that aren't quite as resilient as they were before a big workload. Jeff missing badly up high with the first 2 pitches. Really needs to get those legs involved.
A pop-up. And it'll be Starlin Castro right near second base. Two outs, everybody can move back with Quentin coming up.
Watch the first pitch here to Carlos Quentin. He's been taking his at-bats like he's double parked, hacking at the first thing he sees close to that strike zone.
He's flied to right, struck out and grounded into a 6-4-3 double play. High for ball 1. It's a final up in Toronto. The Phillies got 2 in the 9th and beat the Blue Jays 7-6. Just went final. 1-1. Lined to Castro for the 3rd and final out. John Cusack with the stretch.
For Take Me Out to the Ball Game, actor and Chicago native John Cusack.
All right, Chicago, let's hear you.
Cub Sox World Series.
A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, 'cause it's root for if they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Cub Sox World Series.
The White Sox, as they have their second 2-run lead of the day, 6-4. Reed Johnson thought about a bunt to get on base, but then took it for ball 1. Great to have John Cusack back with us.
Hello, gents. Great to be with you.
See you again, John.
Always a pleasure.
Will you be attending all 3 this weekend?
If they'll have me. As long as they let me keep coming in here, I'll come.
I know some fans discover you from time to time, but you come to a lot of ball games unannounced, just sitting in the stands, got your hat on, got the shades on, trying to be incognito. I've seen you outside the ballpark a few times after games.
Yep. No, I've been coming here since I was 6 years old, so it's like it's home.
Saw you hanging with Chris Chelios the other day.
Yes.
He did a great job with the stretch.
Do you think he or I did better? What do you think? I had the muscle with me. I had my nephew, so.
Well, you've done it a few more times than Chelly has, but you were both great in your own way.
That was a very diplomatic thing to say.
You're standing here right now, John, so I would say you did the better job.
I'll tell you, I would. I just hope the Cubs keep Reed Johnson as long as he plays. I just love watching this guy play baseball. Him, Marlon Byrd. I love the way the hustle and the grit. It's fantastic.
2-2. Now, was it your birthday earlier this week?
Yeah.
Well, happy belated. There's Kerry Wood.
31 years old now for the rest of my life. Thank you, sir.
And you celebrated here. That's a pretty good place to celebrate it.
Chicago in the summers. Cubs Sox. Where else are you going to go?
Fouled back as he stays alive. So Kerry will get the 8th inning. Johnson followed by Giovanni Soto and then a pinch hitter.
I'll tell you, John, I saw a picture of you in the paper today with your Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh,
with the
right. Yeah.
Dark hair and a black suit or something. You were creepy looking.
Thank you.
I assume
look,
I meant it as a compliment. Yeah.
He's the godfather of goth. What do you? I mean, you gotta, you can't half-step Poe. Whoa.
And that one right below our booth.
Right below us. When's that movie coming out, by the way?
I think it'll either be this fall or February next year.
Looking forward to that one.
Yeah, it should be a fun one if you like horror and goth and Edgar Allan Poe. Do you guys catch many foul balls up here? Do you still have that net, the old net?
Bob, you caught one last year, the year before.
I think it was the year before.
I think it's the only ball to come into the booth.
We haven't had much action up here. Yeah. We're positioned perfectly, but for some reason they just don't hit them up here as often as they used to.
See, Harry had the big net, I remember. He had that big.
Yeah.
And that must have been 8 feet out. So.
Still 2-2 as we look at our Xfinity HD shot of the game. As the foul ball came up and we all were wondering if we were going to catch it. Chicago Cubs baseball brought to you by Xfinity, only from Comcast. Pulled. Foul.
A one-handed swing that time by Reed Johnson. Got fooled a little bit by that off-speed pitch, but managed to keep his bat in the strike zone for a long time. Unfortunately, not long enough. Just hooked it foul.
Former Cub Will Ullman up in the visitors' bullpen. Brian Bruni forgot his razor on this road trip. That'll get down for a base hit, and it'll bring the tying run up with nobody out. As Reed Johnson has 2 hits today. I'm going to ask you a question, John, you might not be able to answer. You've been in over 50 feature films. How many approximately have you shot in and around Chicago? A fair amount, I would say.
Yeah, I would say maybe 8 to 10. I think. Yeah. When I was younger, I got to making movies about teenagers, and I was a teenager, so I was pretty lucky. I was It's the right place at the right time. So I did a couple here when I was 15 and 16, and then I got to bring one of my movies, High Fidelity, to Chicago, and shot The Ice Harvest with Harold Ramis, who sang the 7th inning stretch up here. So a couple I've been looking to always.
2-0.
Oh, yeah.
There you are, as Edgar Allan Poe. The Raven.
Yeah. He didn't have a happy life, but it made for made for great stories.
Yeah. And Soto gets under one as Quentin looking for it, and he finds it and makes a catch. So, a pinch hitter, it'll be Blake DeWitt who comes up. Tell us about working with the late John Hughes. 16 Candles.
Yeah, I was a teenager at the time, so I was just so happy to get a cup of coffee in the big leagues. That he was very lovely man, very sweet, supportive, and I was just sort of dazzled by the show at that time. I couldn't believe I was in a movie, so I was just happy to be there. But he was a very nice guy, very funny guy,
and a lot of what he wrote about was about his upbringing north of the city, Northbrook, Deerfield, that area.
Yeah.
Breakfast Club and 16 Candles.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people drive around the area and they'll say, that church looks familiar. I've seen that before. Oh, that was the last scene of 16 Candles. Or, oh, I remember that house in Home Alone.
Right.
Ferris Bueller, I remember that scene. It's one of the great things about this city in terms of the great movies.
Yeah, I hope I can do 10 more if I'm lucky. Right here in Chicago.
One strike on the pinch hitter, Blake DeWitt.
Are the Cubs all going to be healthy soon after the All-Star break? Or?
Yeah, we hope so. Marlon Byrd expected back sooner rather than later, and Carlos Zambrano, the most recent one to go on the DL, but it doesn't sound like anything too serious. He should be back in action after the break. So yeah, you're getting closer and closer to full strength.
Only 10 games back. You never know.
You'd like to shave a couple more off that at least
before the All-Star break.
Before the break, and then the math starts to get difficult. But they're looking today, if they can come back late for their 3rd straight win, that would be their first such winning streak of the year.
Well, St. Louis isn't running away with it, so they're
And Milwaukee's lost 3 in a row as Bob Dernier tried to get out of the way, and oh man, they're going to ride him in the dugout about that one. Used to have quicker feet.
Yeah, I remember that triple he hit in '84. I don't think there were no lights here at that time, right?
There were no lights.
Yep. He could fly.
His first responsibility is with that base runner down there at first base, and he picks up the hitter rather late that time and just couldn't get out of the way.
1-2 fouled off.
So big plans for the 4th of July next week. You want to go to Washington with us?
Where are you doing in Washington? For the Nationals?
Yeah, we have 4-game series in D.C. Big fireworks show over the National Mall. Should be a lot of fun.
Can I get a spot in the cargo area of the plane down with the luggage?
I'm sure we could find a seat.
I'm sure we could sneak in.
Yeah.
You could ride in Tony Campana's glove.
There you go. That guy beats out ground balls.
Oh.
I mean, he's got to be as fast as you get, right?
DeWitt couldn't hold up. Yeah, he's the fastest guy I've seen in a long time.
We've talked to a lot of baseball scouts. There's a kid in Anaheim named Peter Borges, a center fielder that runs real well. Michael Bourne from the Houston Astros. But a lot of the scouts I've talked to think Campana's faster than both of those guys.
He's got his batting gloves on. He's ready if needed. As Kosuke will dig in with 2 outs. Johnson started the inning with a single, but he's still at first base. Swing and a miss. We'll see Kerry Wood in his first action off the DL in the top of the 8th.
Great to see Pena's season turn around the way it has, the way he plays first base and the way he plays the game, to start hitting the ball the way he is.
He has 17 home runs since May 3rd, after not hitting one in the entire month of April.
Well, and you're right about his defense at first.
Oh,
We've been spoiled here in Chicago with Gracie and with Derek Lee and Carlos Pena right in that same mold. He saves a lot of errors for his infielders.
Yep.
Kosuke in a 1-2 hole here. Barney on deck. White Sox grab the lead with 4 big ones in the top of this inning off Randy Wells.
A 2-out rally here.
That's how it started yesterday in extra innings. 2 quick outs, and then Jeff Baker with a double to center. Darwin Barney with a base hit, an intentional walk, and a 3-run bomb, and everybody was celebrating.
Your ride is here, John. Rickshaw action. That's low. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I know Rick Shaw was a left-handed pitcher with the Tigers, wasn't he?
Rim shot.
Boom, boom.
Starting to get a little warmer here, which we expected. We started under 70 degrees at 120, but the wind has shifted. Called strike 3 on the outside corner. John, always a pleasure. Nice to see you.
My pleasure.
Look forward to the Ravens. 6-4 White Sox. This game, he had battled a right index finger blister, and this is his first appearance since June 8 at Cincinnati. (6-4) the White Sox with 4 runs in the 7th. 2-run homer Alexei Ramirez, 2-run triple Juan Pierre. Paul Konerko will lead it off. Good numbers for the White Sox captain against Kerry Wood. Feel those at bats when Kerry was a Cubs starter way back when.
Well, you know, for Kerry Wood, the time he spent on the disabled list had to feel like an eternity. A guy that so badly wants to be part of this team and to help turn things around from this point forward, and just to have to sit in the training room or on the bench and watch your teammates go out there every day and in some cases struggle mightily, and you can't help but feel like you might make a difference if you were able to go out there and pick up an inning here or there, take some of the load off the rest of that bullpen, and now he's going to get his opportunity.
Konerko sends a rainbow out to right where Fukudome will haul it in. I want to mention the Kerry Wood Strike Zone Celebrity Bowling Tournament. The 6th annual event will be September 18th. 10-pin bowling lounge and Hotel Saks in downtown Chicago. You can go to kerrywoodstrikezone.org for tickets. And make sure you check out the Wood Family Foundation's website, woodfamilyfoundation.org. Great event. We'll have all kinds of Cubs celebrities on hand on September 18th. The 1-0 pitch. Brzezinski was late on the fastball. 1-1.
Elevated fastball out of the zone, up and away. AJ just could not lay off. See that fastball up in your eyes like that, you realize it's probably not going to be a strike, but it looks so tempting to swing at. Another one.
This will be backhanded by Castro. A little tricky hop at the end, but he has plenty of arm to get Brzezinski. Ramirez tied it with a 2-run shot off Randy Wells in the 7th. Alexei with his 8th of the year. Every time we see the White Sox, we talk about his slight build. At least that's what it appears to be, but he's got power. Came up to the big leagues, there are a lot of body type comparisons made between Alexei Ramirez and Alfonso Soriano.
Really, it's all about bat speed. You don't have to be a big strapping strong guy to hit the ball a long way. If you get that bat going quickly through the hitting zone, make solid contact, it'll go.
Doesn't make contact there. Soto locates the ball, completes the play. And Kerry Wood goes 1, 2, 3. Bottom of the 8th, 6-4 Southsiders.
with the most unique behind-the-scenes VIP game experiences available. Each package includes great tickets, first-class hotel accommodations, a special Cubs gift bag, a tour of the ballpark, and a private meet and greet with a current Cubs player. For more information, as always, visit Cubs.com.
Right-hander Jesse Crain is on for the Sox.
Slider, slider, slider. Has a good fastball in the mid-90s, but relies on that hard, sharp, late-breaking slider to get most of his outs.
1-0 on Darwin Barney. 2-3-4 for the Cubs. Successful return from the shelf for Kerry Wood. I would assume, even though he threw just 9 pitches, that'll be it for him. And Sean Marshall has a ball in the bullpen. 1 ball, 1 strike. Crain signed a 3-year contract as a free agent over the winter. Dual citizen of Canada and the U.S., born in Canada. But it was on a business trip that his parents, who are U.S. citizens, had taken to Toronto. So he only, quote, lived in his native country for 3 months. The high school in Colorado. He's a pitcher and shortstop at the University of Houston. He'll be out of play right field side. 41,486 packed into the friendly confines today.
And you're right, it has gotten warmer, a little more humid, a little muggier here as the afternoon has gone on. Wind has turned around a little bit, should help just about anything hitting the air right now.
Quentin for the first out. I want to say hi to Sue Brust, watching us in Ottawa, Illinois today. I want to send out happy 22nd birthday wishes to Tammy Allen and get well wishes to Robert Etheridge from Evansville, Indiana. Sam Kelly's at the ballpark, wants to say hi to his great grandmother, Lona Johns, 100 years old. Saw her first Cub game back during your rookie season, Bob, 1923.
Mm.
(1923). Isn't that when the old Yankee Stadium was built? It's a while ago. Quentin again, this time getting Castro. There's certain phrases you think about baseball wise. The 27 Yankees, you hear that all the time. Well, 27 Yankees didn't exist in 1923.
Who
were still in the womb, so to speak.
Yeah, I wonder who in comparison would have been the 27 Yankees
right
before 1927.
I guarantee you in 1923, when Lona Johns came to Wrigley Field, I don't even believe it was called Wrigley at that time, there were people in the ballpark who said these players today are just not as tough as they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
All about the money.
Yep.
Fundamentally bad.
They don't take enough pitches. Swing too early in the count. We never steal a base.
It would have been Cubs Park in 1923. It was renamed Wrigley Field in 1926. Big swing and a miss by Ramirez, 1-2.
That's a great thing about baseball. Very little has changed about the game itself over all these years, and very little has changed about the fans and their complaints about their home team.
Although in 23 they tweeted a lot more.
But it was actually a bird that they used.
It's adding up the years since the last playoff appearance, NL pennant, and World Series title. Three and two with Pena on deck. Ramirez with his 300th career homer back in the 6th.
Three-two slider coming from Crane.
And it's hammered into left.
Ramirez just punishes off-speed pitches that are in or around the strike zone, especially those that are up. That slider about let her high out over the plate. Jerked it back to the left side of the field for a 2-out single.
Pena digs in. Dueling "Let's go Cubbies, let's go White Sox" chants. Pena couldn't hold up. You think he does that more often than most guys early in counts because of his recognition, in that he gets fooled, but then he realizes, uh-oh, that pitch is not what I wanted. You see that happen a lot more often with him than other power hitters.
Well, I think because he has a reputation of being such a patient hitter, sometimes he goes to the plate with the idea that he's going to ambush that opposing pitcher. And most guys just try to lay that first pitch in there against Carlos Pena, and he's going to be ready to waylay it if it happens to be a pitch he can handle. But when it's something he's not looking for, that's when you see the check swings, foul balls.
Another one.
But I think, as I said, he's got enough confidence in his own ability to battle, even if he's behind in the count 0-2. He's going to make that pitcher work to get that third strike.
I mean, you see it in just how he carries himself around the plate, that he's a thinker. Very deliberate between pitches. Swing and a miss. So Crane gets him. Cubs leave one. We go to the ninth. 6-4 White Sox. This season. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Chicago Cubs game live or on demand on your computer and your favorite devices. Visit Cubs.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv. Baseball everywhere. Beautiful shot of downtown Chicago. Framed by two big towers, Hancock and the Willis Tower. Jeff Baker takes over at first as the Cubs double switch to get Sean Marshall into the game. Carlos Pena made the last out, so he is out, and Marshall will go into his spot. Baker in the 9 spot. Breaking ball strike on Alex Rios. He scored the go-ahead run on the 2-run triple by Juan Pierre in the 7th. Rolled up the middle, into center for a base hit.
That ball had eyes. Little slider just guided back up the middle of the field. Castro was shaded toward the hole between third and short a little bit and just couldn't recover quickly enough to get to that ball.
Beckham gets the bunt down. Marshall will tag him out.
Unfortunately, Sean Marshall does not fall off the third base side as radically as he did earlier in his career. He's really squared up to home plate, able to bounce off that mound. That time made a nice play on the sac bunt by Beckham.
Brent Lillibridge will pinch hit. They have two guys on their roster named Brent, Morrell and Lillibridge. Not all that unusual, but I've seen more Bretts than Brents. One ball, no strikes. Ooh. Felled the batter as he banged that one off his foot. You see he has some shin and ankle protection on that front leg.
Naturally, it looked like it hit below the padding on the instep of that left foot. As that extender down over his shoelaces, it looked like the ball hit just to the side and below the protector.
Runner goes, throw to third, late. Alex Rios steals third.
Alex Rios realizing that Sean Marshall was pitching in quite a rhythm out there, a little bit slow to home plate with the runner at second base, got himself a pretty good jump. Not much chance for Gio that time unless he puts it right on the base. Rios now at third base with one out. The Cubs will be forced to bring their infield in. Pitch out. I believe it's a pitch out. Yep.
Lillibridge started to show bunt.
Not sure if Alex Rios at third read the pitch out or whether that was just a safety squeeze. There's no question Lillibridge was going to bunt that ball. You see Rios isn't charging down the line from third. He's playing it safe. I think that was just a safety squeeze that time. If it was a pitch Lillibridge thought he could bunt into play, then it was on the third base runner to decide whether he could score or not.
Tried it again, 3-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
Good downward movement on that breaking ball on the outer third of the plate. Lillibridge had all his weight out on his front foot. Swings right over the top. Good breaking pitch.
Half the infielders can move back, but the cornermen have to stay in to guard against a bunt by Juan Pierre. He won the game in Colorado in extras yesterday, and he gave his team the lead here today. There's the bunt. He pops it foul. I would say Juan Pierre has been much maligned here in Chicago, and his biggest advocate is his manager. Seems like every day Ozzie is quoted talking about Juan Pierre. Essentially says, as long as I'm here, Juan Pierre is going to play.
And I know from experience, Len, there's a lot more that a player brings to a team. It doesn't always show up on a stat sheet. Certainly Juan Pierre at this stage of his career is one of those guys. He'll come up with the occasional big hit. He'll steal the occasional big base. He's had some misplays in the outfield this year, but one thing is guaranteed: Juan Pierre will be the first guy at the ballpark every day. He'll lend his experience, his knowledge of the game to the younger players to try to make them better. And there's never a doubt that you're getting everything he has on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's a great point. He swings and misses. Marshall gets him. And they strand a runner at third. Bottom 9, 6-4 White Sox. Sergio Santos, he was lights out against the Cubs in that series on the south side.
How good was he? In his 2 appearances against the Cubs on the south side, he threw 26 pitches, 23 of them for strikes.
But new ballpark, new series, new day, new uniform. Here we go.
Well, we see one of his three weapons, that fastball in the mid to upper 90s. Also throws a hard slider and a straight changeup. In the series over on the south side, relied just on fastballs and sliders, was spotting him on both sides of the plate.
Converted infielder. He's only been on the mound since 2009. Picked up saves in both of the White Sox wins at Colorado. And a strikeout on a slider to start the ninth.
That's just a wicked slider. A lot of downward movement. He throws it extremely hard. Good tight rotation. Very tough for the hitter to pick up.
So Santos working on his third consecutive day. Facing Reed Johnson. He does miss the plate against other teams, right?
He must. He's just a strike throwing machine against the Cubs so far this year.
That slider dropped right off the table. The strike out the side for the second time against the Cubs this season as he faces Giovanni Soto. Six pitches, all strikes from Santos. Make it 7. Backhanded Brent Morrell, and the White Sox grab the opener of this series and deny the Cubs their third consecutive win. So the White Sox have won 3 of the first 4 this Crosstown Classic here in 2011, and Juan Pierre ends up with a game-winning 2-run triple in the 7th inning after Alexei Ramirez tied it with a home run. Much more to come from Wrigley Field. Stay with us. A final today. The White Sox 6, the Cubs 4.